Hello viewers, welcome to this channel Thirukkural's Art of Living. Today we are going to see what is learning. What is learning? Is it reading a book or studying an institute? What is learning? Learning is permanent change in behavior. That is what psychologists say. Learning is permanent change in behavior. Not even temporary change will not be considered as learning. Only when it results in permanent change in behavior, we call it learning. People used to say, I will teach you a lesson. Meaning, I will change your behavior permanently. Sometimes we remark, in spite of all the things, he has not learnt a lesson. That means, in spite of all the experience, he has not taken a lesson and someone has not changed his behavior. So, learning is essentially a permanent change in behavior. If there is no permanent change in behavior, there is no learning at all. How do we learn? Of course, when we read a book, as a result of that, we change our behavior. Sometimes after reading a great book, it influences us. Our behavior is completely changed. Then only we can call it learning has taken place. Otherwise, it is only a reading. Reading a book is not a learning. Learning must result in permanent change in behavior. That is why when we study in an institute, as a result of that study, later we change our behavior. There is a behavioral change. That is why we call it learning. How do we learn? We learn from our own experience. That is why they give on-the-job training in organizations. Learning by doing. Learning by doing. Even cooking, you can learn only by doing cooking, not by reading a book. So, learning is permanent change in behavior. We learn out of our own experience. Experience is the best teacher. Then there is social learning. We learn from others' experience, not from our own experience, but from others. People used to say, wise men learn from others' experience, others' mistakes. Fools learn from their own mistakes. So, learning from others' experience, by observing others, that is what we call social learning. Learning from your neighbor, learning from society, learning from others' experience. It is called social learning. But in any case, the learning happens only when your behavior is permanently changed. Otherwise, there is no learning at all. When we mean learning, it means only permanent change in behavior. We learn, unlearn, and relearn. That means constantly we learn and we change our behavior also constantly, all the time. Out of learning, we change our behavior. This learning happens throughout our life, from cradle to graveyard. Throughout, it is not stopping. Throughout our life, we learn and we change our behavior. This permanent change in behavior, which we call as learning, has been explained in Thirukkural, the great Tamil epic of 2000 years old, in this couplet. கற்க கசடர கற்பவை கற்றபின் நிற்க அதற்கு தக. Couplet number 391 in அதிகாரம் கல்வி or education. In this couplet, Thiruvallur says in an instructional tone what is learning. Karka kasadara, meaning when you learn without any flaw. Flawless learning. Flawless learning. After learning, you should behave as per your learning. That is what this couplet says 2000 years before. Learn flawlessly, and after learning, behave as per your learning. That means permanent change in behavior. That is why he calls nirka. Nirka means stand by. You stand by as per your learning. Meaning that you change your behavior. Unless there is a change, permanent change in behavior, we don't call it learning. This concept, the same psychological or management, training, whatever you call, concept, has been given in this couplet 2000 years before. That is why the great saint says, nirka, meaning behave as per your learning. Stand by as per your learning. That is what nirka means. So learning is permanent change in behavior. This concept is highlighted in this couplet number 391, 2000 years before, by the great saint Thiruvallur. What we call today by modern psychologists, the definition for learning is given in this couplet 2000 years before. We will see the next couplet. Thank you for your patience listening. Thank you all.